Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. I hope you all in the good conditions now. My name is Alwiya Nur Aulia and my partner Rayhan Al Hadad. We're from Group 3, Student of English Education Department. Now in this video, we would like to present our material about word attack technique, about phonic, structural analysis, and contextual clues. So if you want to know more, please watch this until finish. Phonic is a method of teaching beginners how to read and pronounce words by learning the phonetic value of letters, letter groups, and especially syllables. Phonic involves matching the sound of spoken English with individual letters or group of letters. It's teaching children to blend the sounds of letters together, help them decode unfamiliar and unknown words by sounding them out. There are four major types of phonic: synthetic phonics, analytic phonic, analogy phonic, and embedded phonics. First, synthetic phonic. Synthetic phonics start with teaching phoneme and then progresses to teaching full words. It always starts with systematically teaching phonics, beginning with explicit instruction about the 44 phonemes and grapheme in the English language. This first stage of instruction usually involves whole class explicit teaching lessons and a great deal of repetition of phonemes. For example, if students know the basic single letters like A, B, C, D, and E or extra, and some basic two letters phoneme like at, it, and ing, they can start blending them to form words like cat, fat, hat, and extra. Note, this is focused on explicit instruction of phonemes and blending them to construct words. This is the most direct and structured method of phonics. Second is analytical phonics. Analytical phonics start with familiar words that students have learned by rote. Lessons that involve having the student decode and break down those words into their phonemes. Usually, the words that are analyzed have a beginning phoneme or onset and an ending phonemes or rhyme. A teacher will present the familiar words like mat, fat, hat, cat, and then the student try to identify the phoneme at within those words. This focuses on deconstructing words to identify the phoneme. Start with familiar words and break them down into their parts. Third is analogy phonic. Analogy phonic is in reality just a form of analytic phonic. They both focus on whole words and then deconstruct them into their phoneme or grapheme parts. What set analogy phonics apart is that in attempts to build a child's vocabulary of known words by introducing words that are analogous or similar. Fourth is embedded phonic. Embedded phonic involves teaching phonemes and grapheme when they arise in teachable moments in books. It focuses on learning to decode language during reading tasks rather than through structured lessons. It emphasizes the importance of learning through context and ongoing exposure to words. An embedded approach is often used as part of the whole language learning method, a largely defined approach to teaching reading. Nonetheless, it remains a very valuable approach for teachers to use, especially when working one-to-one with a learner. Structural analysis. Structural analysis is a strategy that develops students' ability to determine the meanings of words. Students systematically examine the words of meaningful parts such as the root words, prefix, or suffix. Knowledge of word parts is helpful both for word identification as well as for understanding the meaning of less familiar words when the context is not enough.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rayhan Al Hadad from English Education Department Class 3B. Right now I will continue our presentation about structural analysis. Okay. Why use this strategy in an inclusive learning environment? Okay, it's provide a strategy for reading complex words more efficiently by breaking apart unfamiliar words in order to understand their overall meanings. Help students see patterns, recognize familiars of words, and think about meaningful word parts, including prefixes, roots, and suffixes. Show how the structure of words provide clues to their word meanings, building better comprehension skills through vocabulary development, and how this strategy could be used in an inclusive learning environment. Number 1, teach students about compound words and how the overall meanings related to the word parts. For example, fire plus wood, firewood. And the meaning of some words may be less obvious, for like carpool or whatever, and students may have to use their background knowledge and the context of the sentences to understand the words. Teach a few common prefixes such as an, re, in, and this. Provide opportunity for students to listen for words that contain these prefixes in teacher read alouds and to play games that rely on sorting and creating words using a variety of prefixes. Teach a few common suffixes such as li, ing, able, and ed. Continue to provide opportunity for students to listen for words that contain these suffixes and to play games that rely on sorting and creating words using a variety of suffixes. Number 4, have students refer to the new words frequently and provide opportunity to explore meaningful ways to record what they have learned about how words are built. And number 5, ensure that structural analysis is a thoughtful and intentional part of vocabulary activities across subjects and disciplines. Okay, we came to the contextual clues. Context clues are hints found within a sentences, paragraph, or passage that a reader can use to understand the meanings of a new or unfamiliar words. Learning the meaning of a word through its use in a sentence or paragraph is the most particular way to build vocabulary, since a dictionary is not always available when a reader encounters an unknown word. A reader must be aware that many words have several possible meanings. Only by being sensitive to the circumstance in which a word is used can the reader decide upon an appropriate definition to fit the context. A reader should rely on the context clues when an obvious clue meanings is provided, or when only a general sense of the meanings is needed for the reader purpose. Context clue should not be relied upon when a passage's meanings is required. When clues suggest several possible definitions, when nearby words are unfamiliar, and when the unknown word is a common one that will be needed again. In this case, a dictionary should be consulted. There are several different types of context clues. Some of them are: number 1, definition or description clue. The new term may be formally defined, or such as explanation may be given within the sentence or in the following sentence. Clues to the definition include that is, commas, dashes, and parentheses. Number 2, example clues. Sometimes when a reader finds a new word, an example might be found nearby that helps to explain its meaning. Words like including, such as, and for example, point of example clues. Number 3, synonym restatement clue. The reader may discover the meaning of an unknown word because it repeats an idea expressed in familiar words nearby. Synonyms are words with the same meaning. Number 4. Contrast or anatonym clue. Antonyms are words with opposite meanings. An opposite meaning context clue contrasts the meaning of an unfamiliar word with the meaning of a familiar term. Words like although, however, and but may signal contrast clue. Number 5. Mood or tone clue. The author sets a mood, and the meaning of the unknown word must harmonize with the mood of the writer, of the author. And number 6. Experience clue. Sometimes a reader knows from experience how people or things act in a given situation. The knowledge provides the clue to a word's meaning. Number 7. Analysis or structure clue. The parts used to contrast a word can be direct clues to the meaning. Knowledge of prefixes, roots, and suffixes can aid a reader in using this type of context clue. Learning one word part can add dozens of words to readers' vocabulary. The power of words parts lies in the ability to combine the roots and affixes with the context in which a word is used to discover the author meanings. And number 8 is inference clue. Sufficient clues might be available for the careful reader to make an educated guess at the meaning. And the last is cause and effect clue. The author explains the reason for the result of the word. Words like because, since, therefore, thus, so, and minimum, and may signal context clues. Okay, I think that's all from our group. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm so sorry if there are mistakes. And stay healthy, stay safe, and assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.